All right, let's get practicing in QuickBooks Online. Grab the link below in the description so that you can follow along. All right, so here we are in the QBO Gym. And the QBO Gym is a place where we have numerous exercises that simulate real life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Every single month, we come out with new exercises for you to practice and complete, and we break it down for you into 4 different sections. Today, we're going to be working in the January cardio section. At the top here is an animated video to give you a synopsis of what you will be doing for Craig this month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is an interactive quiz. It relates to the video up above. Below are all of the exercises within that section. And then at the bottom here is an optional area where after you've completed all of the exercises in this section, we have some sample posts that you can use on LinkedIn to share with everybody what you have learned so far. So let's go ahead and dive right into today's exercise, or we're going to practice finishing dealing with accounts payable errors. Go ahead and click on that link right there to have the exercise pulled up. I have it over here on the right-hand side, so let's see what our scenario is today. As you clean up Craig's account, you run an accounts payable aging summary and you see both some negative numbers and some zeros. So, how did this happen and how do you fix it? So, you need to be in the same session of the sample company that you did the previous exercise in. If you have not completed those exercises yet, go ahead and click on the link on the top right corner of your screen. That'll take you to the first one, complete that one and all the ones after it. They all build on each other, so it's really important you start with that first one until you get back to this one. So again, the problem that we discovered is the accounts payable aging summary report shows negative numbers and zeros in some of the accounts. So how did this happen and what should you do about it? Let's take a look. So, as mentioned previously, when you create a bill, you need to create the bill first and then you create the bill payment transaction. The correct workflow is to then match that bill payment transaction from the bank feed to the bill payment in QBO. Now, sometimes clients don't add the bill payments as its own transaction and instead wait for it to just appear in the bank feed. Then, when it appears, instead of matching the bill, they think they need to categorize it to accounts payable, like we saw in the previous exercise. So, not the correct workflow, but let's see what happens if they do that. First, we'll need to delete the bill payments that are currently being matched in QBO. So here I am in the sample company. This is the last page that I left off of from the previous exercise. We're going to look at the one for Hall properties first. So go ahead and click on that line to expand it. And then we want to click on bill payment 11 so that we see that particular transaction. Now, when it comes up, we want to delete this. So go ahead and click on the More button and then go ahead and select Delete. You're going to get a pop-up asking if you're sure you want to delete this. And for our exercise, yes, we do. So go ahead and click on Yes. And now that one has been deleted. Now let's go ahead and look at the one for Tim Philip Masonry. So let's scroll down to that one. We're going to go to Bill Payment 45. Go ahead and click on that one. And then we're going to do the same thing where we're going to click on More down here, select Delete, and then we're going to click Yes once again. Now, with the bill payments gone, let's see what happens when we categorize these to accounts payable and then add them. So let's go ahead and click on Hall Properties once again so we can expand it. Now, if you notice this time, it says bill. This is the bill, not the bill payment, because we just deleted that bill payment transaction. So that is why it is showing here as bill. Let's go ahead and click on the button next to categorize. And we are going to, in the select category field, we're going to select accounts payable. So click into it. I would advise typing in accounts. Otherwise, you're going to do a lot of scrolling to try and find it. Do accounts and then click on accounts payable AP. And then we're going to select add right there. And now it's showing that it has been categorized, and that is why it has disappeared. Now let's do the same thing for the Tim Philip Masonry one. Go ahead and click on that line somewhere. And then we're going to click on the button that says categorize. Once again, you see that matching record that it's finding is the bill, not the bill payment because we deleted it. So click on categorize. And then we're going to once again do this to accounts payable. So click into it. You can start typing accounts payable right there. Go ahead and click on that and then click on add. Once again, that is now showing as categorized, which is why it is no longer here in the bank feed. So now let's take a look at the report. We're going to click on reports on the left nav bar. And when we get to the report center, we want to click on accounts payable aging summary, which is, remember you had made it a favorite before. So go ahead and click on that one. And now we have successfully created the problem. Note that the zeros should not be on the report. There's a 0 here for Tim Phillip Masonry, and here is that negative number for Hall Properties. So if there were no balance, they should not appear at all. Theoretically, that's what it should be. So if that's the case where there is no balance, he should not be showing up in here. So since he is showing up in here, that's definitely a problem. So how are we going to go about fixing this? Let's take a look at the vendor accounts. From the left navigation bar, we're going to hover over expenses and then select vendors. So here is expenses, hover over that and then select vendors. We're going to look for Hall Properties. So scroll down until you find them and then go ahead and click on their name so that we can get their vendor profile showed up. Now, this time, what we see is the original bill and the expense you just created. But even though we see that we paid Hall Properties, the bill is still showing as overdue. You can see that right here. This is because the bill and the payment are not connected together. Note that the reason 909 negative 900 showed up in separate columns on the report is that they are different ages. I don't know if you remember seeing that in the previous one where I was pointing out the 900 and the negative 900. They were in two separate columns there. So it's showing it was at different ages. I don't remember if it was like 31 to 60 days or 60 to 90 days, but that's what that report was showing. So all we need to do here is just connect the payment to the bill. In the bill row, we want to click the down arrow and then select mark as paid. So here is that bill row right here. Click that down arrow, mark it as paid, and your bill payment transaction is going to show up. Now, QBO will automatically assume you want to apply the outstanding expense to the bill. If you had multiple expenses, though, you would want to make sure that the correct one was selected. This is the only one, so it's the only one selected. But if you had multiples, you want to be very mindful and careful about which ones you select so that you select the correct ones. Now we just need to go ahead and click Save and Close. And when we do that, you will notice now that there is no longer a balance for Hall Properties. So now and there's that bill payment. It's showing there. And so we are all good with Hall Properties. So now let's take a look at Tim Phillip Masonry. Let's go ahead and click on that vendors tab again and find Tim Phillip Masonry. Scroll down until you find him, click on his name. And then once again, you're going to notice here that we have the same problem. Even though we received a payment, it wasn't applied to the outstanding bill. Here's that expense that it's showing that that payment was made, but it's not actually a payment, a bill payment transaction. So it's just kind of hanging out there. And it's showing that it's overdue because it's not connected. So note that even though Tim Phillip Masonry has an outstanding balance, it was showing as 0 on the report. Unlike Hall Properties, which showed the bill and the payment in a different aging columns, with Tim Phillip Masonry, both the bill and the payment were in the same aging period, canceling each other out, which is why it had a 0. Now, I'm not sure if you can see this screenshot right here, but here is the one for Hall Properties. They're in two different aging columns. So this is 1 to 30 days past due, 31 to 60 days past due. That's why they are showing as negative 900 and 900 because they are in two different columns. Versus this one, which is the Tim Phillip Masonry, they were both happen to be in the 31 to 60 day aging column. So that is why it is showing as 0. It's canceling each other out. So now we'll just need to connect the bill and the payment the same way that we did for Hall properties. We're going to click on the down arrow next to bill and then click on mark as paid. Go ahead and click that down arrow, select mark as paid, and that bill payment is going to show up for you. Go ahead and click on save and close. You notice here it's only one and it's selected, and this is the amount that it was. So everything looks good. Go ahead and save and close it. And there we go. Now it has fixed. It is no longer showing as overdue. So we are all set with Tim Phillip Masonry. Now let's check the report one more time to see how this changes it. We're going to click on reports over here on the left navigation bar. Click on that, and then we're going to click again on accounts payable aging summary. Click on that one. And now you will notice here that you no longer have Hall Properties or Tim Phillip Masonry showing up as outstanding balances on this report. That is why they are no longer here. So there you go. That is another kind of error that you may find with accounts payable and how you would fix it. And if you have any questions or want to know more about the QBO Gym, just go ahead and click on the link below in the description. Be sure to leave this session of the sample company open, as you will need it for the next exercise in the cardio section, where we practice dealing with accounts receivable errors. And I will see you in the